guys, today I wanted to make a short lesson about how to get through playing the chords of a jazz standard. So basically I'm going to try to give you 6 exercises that if you have those in your fingers, then you should pretty much be able to go through a simple jazz standard and play the chords to get an idea about how they sound. Often when we're checking out stuff with chords and checking out jazz stuff, we're so busy trying to understand everything and working on a small part of it that we forget that it's actually very important also just to play some tunes and listen to how everything fits together and how it actually works in the music. So for that, this is a really useful thing to have. Of course, it's also just a good starting point to really put all the stuff that you check out into use on a song. So let's do that. The first exercise, actually the first 2 exercises, are just trying to cover our bases with the keys. Most jazz standards, well actually all jazz standards are in a key. So it's handy to just know what the chords of the key is. And if you have the diatonic chords laid out well on the guitar neck, then that's going to help a lot when you're playing through the progressions. So the first one is having the root on the 5th string, and you get these chords for a B flat major scale. And the next one is with the root on the 6th string, and you get the key of F major with these chords. When you start playing chords on guitar, then you get used to thinking about the chord from the root, hopefully anyway, and you do that usually with chords that have the root on the 5th and on the 6th string. So that's why I chose those 2 sets of diatonic chords. And then of course, because I just can start on the 1st degree and end on the 1st degree again without getting too high on the guitar. You surely should check this out in more keys, because well, jazz standards are in other keys than F and B flat. But already with these 2 exercises, we actually have most of the chords covered, and we have them. We have one chord with the root on the 5th and one chord with the root on the 6th string, so we can already play through songs, and you can try and use these 2 sets to go through a song like Autumn Leaves, or All the Things You Are, something that's not moving too much, and you will get a lot of chords covered, just to try and feel how that works and listen to how it fits together. The next exercise, well, actually the rest of the exercises are focused on already starting to group the chords together. I guess jazz standards are known for having a lot of chords, but it's also important to start quite fast to recognize the fact that the chords belong together and that they move in a certain way that is fairly predictable. And in jazz, one of those ways is the 2-5 progression. So a 2-5 is, if you don't look at it from a key point of view, even though the name is taken from the Roman numerals of a key, a 2-5 is a minor chord. For instance, this D minor chord, moving to a dominant chord, which is a 5th lower or a 4th higher, which would give you the same. And you might as well just from the beginning start to recognize the fact that these chords go together, and that they are, of course, they're 2 different chords, but you could also look on them as one unit, because in the end that means that it's easier to remember. If you can think of them as one thing, then there's one chord you don't have to remember, because it's just a 2-5. And that's going to make it easier for you to remember the chord progressions. So that's an exercise like this. The first one, I'm going to start on the root, with the root on the 6th string, and I'm going to play through the 2 5s like this. further down, or you can start somewhere else and get them all. But it's actually mostly about getting this movement into your fingers and recognize which chords they are. Because you want, of course, to be able to recognize the fact that something is a 2/5, and then you can sort of apply this to it. The next example is essentially the same thing, but now we're going to start on the 5th string. So you start here. I think I actually went one further than I've written down, but the principle is fairly simple. And if you want to practice a song that has a lot of these in it, well, actually there are a few. West Montgomery's 4 and 6, which is basically Summertime. And so on, is a good exercise. Sad and All. Oh, sorry, it starts here. So there are a lot of songs that you can play already, which are simple jazz standards, and you can, with these exercises, fairly easily go through them. And it's a good starting point. You know how it sounds, then you can start adding other stuff on top of it. And I have other videos, and on my website I have a few lessons on drop 2 voicings. There are a lot of options for taking it a bit further, but having it covered so that you can actually play through it in time and hear what it sounds like is quite essential. So that's maybe the better way to start. Let's see, there's a few things maybe I should say. When I play voicings with the root on the 6th string in this exercise that I covered in the beginning, what you might notice is that I don't really bar anywhere. Of course you can play them like this, but you have to play with your fingers if you do that. And to me it was often more flexible to not use bar chords, and the same goes for this exercise, which you could, I guess you could play it like true, but and then maybe it's a good exercise to try like that. But when I'm playing, I tend never to do that. Also because then playing the chord like this, I'm muting everything that needs to be muted already. If I do this, I have to watch out because I might not need to hear these two notes. You may or may not know that a dominant resolves a 5th down. So that means that if you're practicing 2-5-1 progressions, they actually tend to sort of logically go down a whole step all the time like this. But until now we've only been dealing with major 2-5s, so cadences to major chords. But of course there are cadences to minor chords too. So let's just do 2 of those. It's the same principle. I'm going to start with one where the root is on the 6th string, and then I'm going to play one with the root of the 1st chord on the 5th string. So that's the first one. This is probably, actually these 2 chords, these voicings, are a little bit difficult to play in the beginning, and you really need to get used to them. And I think I cannot count the amount of times that people have complained about flat 5 chords for this. But yeah, well, I mean, you need them, so you need to practice them, live with it. The next one is with starting on the 5th string. So once you have that covered, then we should probably just add because they're not really part of any of the scales, and they're also not well, part of any of the major scales, and they're also not part of the 2 5s that I've given you until now, not directly anyway. So we just need a dim chord with the root on the 6th string. That would be this one, and a dim chord with the root on the 5th string. So that's the last exercise. One thing I didn't mention along the way, I guess, is that when you're playing jazz, even if it just says C7 or F7 or G minor 7, you still have some liberty in choosing how you want to color it and what extensions you want to add. And of course you need to develop that so that you can choose. For now I've just given some examples. So in my 2-5 example with this one, I've added a 9 to the dominant. Of course I could have added a flat 9 if you know it resolves. I've just chosen some standard, not too difficult voicings and made some not too radical choices so that it's fairly easy to apply. It's not going to be theoretically completely correct every time if you do this. So you need to, along the way, develop an idea about how you want it to sound, how it makes sense in the key. But since this is the survival kit, which is going to get you through a standard and get an idea about how it sounds, we can't really include that here. So that's the lesson. If you have any questions, leave it on the video or connect with me on Facebook or Twitter or Google+ and ask me there. Thank you for watching. If you like the lesson, please subscribe, press like, and until next time.